Welcome to the first episode of the Dope Energy Podcast, your spot for short, concise, but powerful insights to help you level up in life. I'm Anthony, and if you're ready to unlock that better version of yourself, consider hitting that subscribe button. Today, we are talking about discipline and how it can help you become that better version. Let's go. All right, so discipline. Not the most glamorous word, okay? It doesn't give that same energy like motivation or inspiration. But if you look at anyone who is truly successful, anyone that has built something great, you'll notice one common thread. It's discipline. Discipline is the bridge between who you are now and who you want to become. It's that thing that keeps you moving when you don't feel like it. It's that thing that gets you up when your body is screaming for distraction, screaming for comfort, screaming for that easy way out. Trust me when I tell you, I know that battle firsthand. I have a few disciplines in my life that I try really hard to stick to. One of them is getting up early and going on a run first thing in the morning. Now, every morning, when that alarm goes off, there is a war inside of my head. My body's stiff, my bed is warm, and that voice, just stay here. Skip today. You'll be fine. And that voice is loud. But over the years, if there's one thing I learned is that if you give in once, that opens the door for you giving in again and again and again, and suddenly you're back to square one. So I try hard not to even give it a choice, not to give it a chance. Hop out of bed, get those shoes on, and get after it. The same thing happens when I wake up to meditate. You see, I run every other morning, right? No matter what. And on the other mornings, I wake up and meditate. My mind tries to convince me that I can use 5 more minutes of sleep instead of 5 more minutes of stillness. It tries to convince me that it's only 5 minutes, I can do it later, but here's the thing. Later never happens. Discipline is about doing it now, not waiting for the perfect moment. One of my other disciplines, and I would say this is probably the hardest discipline that I have going in my life right now, is the cold plunge. And if you've ever done a cold plunge, you know exactly what I mean when I tell you that every part of my body, of my being, does not want to get in there. The moment I approach that ice cold water, my brain is screaming, "What are you doing? This is insane. Do not get in there." But I step in anyway. And every time that I do, I prove to myself that I'm stronger than my impulses. That discomfort doesn't control me. I control me. The truth is, man, I almost never feel like doing these things. But I still do them. Why? Because discipline is not what you feel like doing. It's about what needs to be done. And if I'm trying to become better, if I'm trying to grow, those things need to be done. So, how does one build discipline? It's a good question. And I have a couple of tips that I think will help you out. Discipline is something that has to be cultivated. It has to be trained like a muscle. And like any muscle, you got to start small. So number one, start with one non-negotiable habit. Pick one thing, just one. Something that no matter what kind of day you have, you commit to doing. Maybe it's waking up at the same time every day. Maybe it's doing 10 push-ups first thing when you wake up. Maybe it's writing a sentence in your journal every morning. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be consistent. The goal here isn't intensity, it's identity. You have to prove to yourself over and over again that you're the type of person that shows up. Number two, control your environment. Okay, we're creatures of habit, and we're also creatures of our environment. If you're trying to eat healthier, get rid of the junk food in the pantry. Okay? If you're trying to be someone who reads more, stick that book on your pillow. Put it by the nightstand before you go to bed so it's there. If you want to wake up early and run, lay those clothes out. Lay your shoes out the night before. Set yourself up for success. Stack the deck in your favor. Number three, eliminate negotiations. Don't negotiate with yourself. Your mind is going to try to lead you to comfort. It's going to say things like, we can do it tomorrow. We can skip today. We'll do it later. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it. The moment you start negotiating with yourself, you've already lost. Set your rules, stick to them, and make them a part of your identity. You don't have to feel like doing it. You just have to get it done. Number four, embrace boredom. This is something that is not really talked about a lot. Being disciplined is kind of boring. It isn't always exciting. Growth isn't always fun. But if you look at some of the highly successful people, some of the top athletes in the world, they don't get there by doing something flashy every day. They get there by doing the same thing over and over again. Success is often the same boring, repetitive things over and over again. Now, those are some things that I think can help you get started, but here's the beautiful part. When you start developing discipline into your life, you unlock something incredible. Freedom. People think discipline is restrictive, that it's about cutting yourself off from enjoyment. But the truth is, discipline is what gives you the freedom to live the life that you want. When you control your habits, you control your future. And when you stop being a slave to your impulses, you start gaining control over your life. And that's the key. You may have heard this quote before, but it says, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. And discipline is the foundation of all great systems. So, start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Pick one thing. Stick to it. Don't negotiate. Build momentum. And you watch how discipline shapes you to the person you are meant to be. Because at the end of the day, discipline is not about what you do. It's about who you become. So I ask you this question. Who do you want to become?